Welcome back to another edition of Train Wreck Tuesday, the show all about trash talks and travesty. I am your host, definitely not Lucas Bancroft, back with you once again to cover all of the action from Week 3 in Boston Urban Hospitality Fantasy Football. Okay, first up we have the Commish going up against Don't Puka the Bear. Don't Puka the Bear not starting a quarterback this week as Jaden Daniels out with injury. Absolutely unacceptable behavior and will not be tolerated in the league. Anyways, getting into it, still able to miraculously pull off the W by a score of 116 to 113, coming down last night to that Baltimore defense. -4 points. Taking Vinny out here, he moves to 2-1 as Don't Puka the Bear, despite not starting a quarterback. Absolutely ridiculous and won't be tolerated. He had a great game from Puka Nakua and Hunter Henry and Cortland Sutton to boot, all getting right over that 20-point mark. And able to get Neb to 2-1. Let's hope that he starts taking it a little more seriously in starting quarterbacks in Week 4. Alright, now this next matchup, there was a lot of hype surrounding it. We have the Hard Aries going up against Like a Good Neighbor. There was trash talk, there was tension between these two head coaches, and we saw that on display on the field on Sunday. The Hard Aries taking down Like a Good Neighbor, 102 to 98.4. A little bit of a comeback out of Like a Good Neighbor last night. 27 points out of Mark Andrews and 29 out of David Montgomery. Able to make this not as much of a blowout and almost rally to take down the Hard Aries, with CeeDee Lamb putting up that goose egg, leaving the game early with injury. And then the rest of his game, a lot of mediocrity despite Garrett Wilson and Jordan Mason, some shining spots here. And Pittsburgh defense was 16 up against New England. The Hard Aries moved to 2-1, Like a Good Neighbor to 1-2. Metcalf and Cheese and head coach Chef Corey faced up against Beef Belt Boyos and head coach Steve Carr in what was a large margin of victory, with the top dog of the week going to Chef Corey, winning this one 142 to 115. That start from Mac Jones, 15 points, leading Metcalf and Cheese to victory. Double digits all across the board. Jonathan Taylor with 33, Cam Scatabo with 24. On the other side of the ball for Beef Belt Boyos, some good performances. Jerry Jeudy still not living up to expectations with only 3 points. Cooper Kupp with only 5. Some shining stars in the running back room with 27 out of Jahmyr Gibbs on Monday night with 2 rushing touchdowns, and Amarian Hampton with his first rushing touchdown of the season, getting 25 for him. Beef Belt Boyos, the 2-time champs, go to 0-3. The reigning defending champ, Chef Michael, going up against Johnny V-Bucks, and another loss for Chef Michael. He also moves to 0-3. Johnny V-Bucks winning this one 106 to 82, behind James Cook, looking like the best running back in the league. 21 points out of the kicker, Chase McLaughlin. That always will boost the morale of the squad. On the other side of the ball for Chef Michael, a lot of single digits. We have Chuba Hubbard, just 9 points, 6.5 points out of Alvin Kamara. Just not a lot of numbers. 82 points is not going to get it done in this league. Let's hope that Chef Michael can catch some more lightning in a bottle like he did last season. Big trade being pulled off, sending Ashton Genty over to 50 Shades of May, acquiring Chase Brown. Let's see if this mix-up can help him out. Alright, we have 50 Shades of May going up against Miso Brady. 50 Shades of May desperately were looking for an upset. The line for this game was set at Miso Brady minus 27.5, and all that 50 Shades of May has going for them is that they did cover that spread 87-106. 0-2 going into this game and going up against the number one performer in the league. 50 Shades of May had their back against the wall and their team was not able to get it done. Once again, looking like a complete and utter disaster up and down the roster. Just looking like, what was he doing during that draft? When you have your 1 and 2 pick combining for less than 10 points, you did something terribly wrong. Not to take anything away from Miso Brady, who assembled an absolute powerhouse this season. 106 points for him, his lowest of the season thus far. Josh Allen with 23 points, Roma Dunes with another stellar performance with 15. Bijan Robinson looking worthy of that number 3 pick currently. 16 points, and he has just been running all up and down the field all season long. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, opening drive, touchdown for him, and I believe that was the moment, rumors have it, that head coach Lucas Bancroft may have deleted the Yahoo app. In our next matchup, we have a domestic dispute going on between Chef Ryan's Rad Team and Sequanda Forever. Ryan's Rad Team getting this one done 116-111. A close matchup for them. For Chef Ryan's Rad Team, beautiful performances all up and down the roster, lots of double digits. Derrick Henry fell back to earth a little bit last night with only 10 points. Still was able to get that rushing touchdown, but yet again, another fumble. Derrick Henry has got to hold on to the ball for Chef Ryan. Baker Mayfield, once again, a solid game. Devontae Adams and Ricky Pearsall all looking good, so Chef Ryan's Rad Team is looking pretty rad this year. Moves to 3-0 in second place, right behind Miso Brady. On the other side of the ball, Sequanda Forever, a solid game out of them, 110 points, would have beaten a lot of teams this week. However, Zay Flowers, a quiet game last night with only 3.3, and Matt Prater, 8 points. Other than that, pretty solid performance. Saquon Barkley, again, falling back down to reality, only 9.5 points. But we'll see if Sequanda Forever can get back on track next week. Hoping to get to 2-2. Next up, we have Don't Burrow Me going up against Are You Worthy of Lamar Laporta. Are You Worthy winning this one 122-110, and Don't Burrow Me losing their first game without Joe Burrow. We're able to get Daniel Jones off the waivers. He puts together a alright performance with 16 points. Amon-Ra St. Brown with 20 last night. Keenan Allen with 20. A good week from Don't Burrow Me, just not enough to take down the likes of Are You Worthy and Lamar Jackson, leading him into the promised land on Monday Night Football with 27 points. Are You Worthy moves to 2-1 in 7th place. Don't Burrow Me and head coach Anderson to 1-2. A tough injury to their star quarterback. Well, let's see if they can rethink their game plan this following week. Okay, folks, love to thank you all once again for tuning into this edition of Train Wreck Tuesday. I am your host, definitely not Lucas Bancroft. I'd like to take a quick moment and shout out our sponsors. The program could not be possible without them. Sponsored by football and by Big Sips, Warheads, Atomic Apple. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend at least 1 Big Sip per day to keep you strong, healthy, and ready to go for fantasy football. Well, folks, I'd like to thank you one more time. Now reach down below, press that like and subscribe button. Make sure you tune in for next week. And I am your host, definitely not Lucas Bancroft, signing off.